And welcome, RCSchim in the hangar, unboxing the next 3D printer. Once again, thanks to Geekbuying for sending this for review. They don't have any input on my reviews, my opinion whatsoever. Came quite fast from Poland in 3 or 4 days. Quick start guide and the SanDisk USB stick. Cruiser Blade 16. I always love to get rid of those. Somewhere I saw that they claim in 10 minutes you can start printing. I will not even have this unpackaged. They did a good job on the packaging. As usual, they pack a lot of stuff inside the printer. A nice sample of burnt titanium. Hallelujah! And I already damaged the fan cover. So yeah, this piece is way too thick. Yeah, it's way too tight. I don't understand why I talk about the packaging so much, but it bothers me at the moment a bit. Box of things. 3D printing adhesive. Oh, the 06 nozzle. Excited for this. Screws. Grease. Screwdriver, yeah, and the necessary tools. A really nice little side cutter. If you maybe remove this first and then move the printhead back, it would go out easier. So now you've learned something already from my review. I have to say I was already stoked about the Creality's K1, but this one looks even better. It really looks like an appliance. The front door is also just plastic. This doesn't need to be glass. The print bed, PEI. The only thing I don't like about this sheet is it's smaller than this. This is from the Artillery X3 Plus. But yeah, so something like this, shiny and all working fine with such a nice large print bed would be amazing. So now I will remove the transport screws, install the filament holder. Oh, that's the that's the filament spool holder. That's very minimalistic, but if it works, why not? Yeah, okay. I see what they've done there. Simple yet effective solution for a spool holder. In the back we have LAN port, power switch and the power screws with the yellow lines. Let's power this thing up. Some nice tunes. English, as firm, all packaging materials were taken out, printer needs calibrate. Okay, I think it did its bad labeling. Now the vibration testing, see how it shakes. Do not touch it. And I like the fact that it tells me that it will take 7.5 minutes more. Okay, it's now doing it on the y-axis. Okay, let us load this nice and shiny filament. Burnt titanium. Looks very similar to the K1. And we will just say load. It will heat up. Use the extruder gears to suck in the filament. 215 of 220, yeah, so the heat up time is quite fast. It wastes a lot of filament. They used some orange filament for a test print. Don't even have a choice, it just prints a cube. So it has no space where it wastes filament into a waste bucket or something like this. Ooh, but the first layer looks really good. Man, this is pure perfection. Okay, it beeps. Print was completed in 6 minutes. They applied some soft foam all around here to have some further insulation. So it was really not that loud. I didn't apply glue and the adhesion. Yeah, I've heard some problems of bad adhesion and the recommendation to always use the glue. Check the edges in the back. It helps you align the build plate. which is also a nice touch. Just curious now if I can use a Creality Ender 3 build plate. It's exactly the same size. Yeah, and it totally works. So you can use stock sheets, PEI. Configure Wi-Fi next. Settings. This looks like Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi's. Now we'll enter the password. Okay, it has a green check mark. We don't want Ethernet. Can also have a hotspot. Ah, look at that. As soon as I entered my Wi-Fi infos, I already get an update changelog. I will be downloading the update right away, of course. That's really fast. It even take us a minute. Update completed. Please restart printer. You want to turn off printer? Yes. I love it that you get the Chinese letters there. Creating MCU. That's the internal processor. Okay, here we can do the leveling and the vibration test with camera. I want to set up the camera and also video. Here you can activate the filtration. So my current firmware is 2.4.2 and I'm excited now to print something. Yeah, you just type the extruder and then you can set the temp. Same goes for the bed. Okay, it shows me the IP address, 88. It's the thing to remember. You just gotta remember those icons. If you have your models on the USB stick and want to start printing from the USB stick, it still copies it over to the local storage and prints from that. So you can remove the USB stick once you started printing. That's a good idea. The bed temperature is only 35, but the nozzle will go up to 220. Kind of miss some information about how long it will take us. The file name says 38 minutes. Okay, I went to the cloud. Asset3db.com, like the printer told me to. The cloud menu, I enabled the flashCloud, then you get the registration code and the website. Basically create a user there, username, password and an activation code from them. And after a few minutes I could add my printer there, just named it. Yeah, I see the name here as well, so they two are communicating. And now I see some values. Tells me it's busy printing a local job. Maybe we can see the video. Yes, we can see the video. It has a built-in camera. Moves the images over the cloud to my laptop and not directly from the printer to my laptop, as I would prefer, because this is of course slower. Could find out that the port 8080 is used for the webcam that's installed. So if you just enter the IP address of your printer, which is from your local Wi-Fi, use $.8080, you will be able to see the webcam in a full browser view if you would like to. You can go to the control settings so you can control the camera, which is nice. So that's one of the downsides that I heard from a few reviewers. As to be expected, I'm not the biggest fan of this flashCloud. At least it's not totally overwhelmingly full with advertisements. Speaking of which, down there they are, but that's okay. Printer name there, or just click on the printer itself. We don't see anything because it's a local print job. So at 25 minutes, Benchy sliced with the FlashPrint, their own software in the absolutely default settings. But other than this stringing that you can melt away with the heat gun, I don't see any bad things, like no ghosting on the bullseyes. Is the seam always there? Never saw it there. The edges look good. Chimney. And I love this burnt titanium. That's how I like it. I just designed this little part for another printer. It's a perfect first layer. I did apply some 3D lac on the build plate just in case. But I think if you run 55 degrees on the build plate, it should be fine. Wow, no! It goes into high-speed mode. You can try to already guess what this print will do, or this part. The purpose of this part will be. Wow, look at this speed. Okay, this part is finished. It came out flawless. Also used this burnt titanium material. That in the back I have this 0.4mm gap, and it didn't stick together, so that's nice. The hole had no support. so it's okay. 2mm hole. So that's now a hardcore test of not having glue on the print bed. Just a 55-degree temperature. This chainmail coaster has a lot of single objects. A lot of potential for one of these objects to move. Good printer test, I'd say. I love to watch it while it's doing its precision job. That's really awesome. Wow, that's speedy. I could watch this forever. And just when I was so happy about everything, adhesion problems, that's unfortunate. So we'll have to repeat this process. Whee! Looks good. This was a print with a more complex placement. Orca-Slicer decide the orientation and then use the supports, and came out with such a nice quality. Really impressed. So yeah, quality wise, really nice. Okay, let's try two things. First, the nozzle change. It's supposed to be very easy, within only a few seconds. First of all, I love the fact that you can remove this, which is just held in place by magnets. I will be just cutting off the old filament, close as I can down there. Press the red locking mechanism and pull it down. So this is the 04 nozzle with PLA in it still. Let's get out the new nozzle. So it's a 06 hardened steel nozzle, so it should be a good all-rounder. Just make sure the connector is on the back side and click it in place. Touch the cover again, and now we will load the filament, but a different one. That's the only thing that is really a bit uncomfortable here. Checking this one out. Getting in TPU for the moment. It's not too bad. We just need a little bit of space between the printers. It's also no issue for TPU, which is bendy. I don't know if it's necessary, but I also cut it in a 45 degree to have it enter the extruder easier. Feed it from the top. We press TPU and say load. Heat it up to 230, like 10 degrees per second. Amazing. Heating completed, loading. Yeah, I feel it sucking it in already. Quite slow, but man, that's really an easy one. Then you connect the tube. Let's see. They had some red filament in it for testing apparently. And it's the little gripe I have with him is on filament changes he wastes quite a lot of material. I mean, it's not drastic, and you also see it takes some time for the color change, so I would have done this anyways, but yeah. You don't have a lot of control on the extrusion process for the filament changes. So that's the amount of filament we've wasted. Now I've sliced my print job on Orca and I have to bring it over with the USB stick, which is still a bit of an inconvenience. But on the other hand, I go to the print menu, USB stick, check my lid that I printed, and I start to print. And the nice thing is it copies it over to its local storage, so now I can take the USB stick with me again. It's quite fast for a first layer with TPU. Just when I wanted to start a time lapse, ugly scraped the bed, like if the nozzle wasn't in. Holy moly, that was not nice. Let's see what happened. And now I cancelled the print and it turned off the light. And also the nozzle shows minus temp, so it disconnected, I guess. Ooh. And looks like the printer even hung up. What do we do now? What has happened? Layers were all good, and then this one layer scraped into it, making an ugly sound. And this is how I got an ugly scrape on my PEY sheet. Lucky that also my Ender 3 PEY sheet would fit perfectly, so spares are not too expensive. I can just print, and I will say leveling just to make sure. See you in a bit. So we're doing a bad level after this scrape incident. I'm quite sure now that I didn't wait for the satisfying click on the nozzle change. I will see. I will retry the print now. I swear to God, if he scrapes again, I'll tear down the bed, which is probably bad for the motors. But it's easy to see how far we came on the first trial. No, it must have gotten just loose on the first try. So watch out on the nozzle changes to have it really click in place, scrape your bed and later print. But to its defense, it recognized the failure and stopped the print. Also good to see from top how nice the quality of the first layer will be and where my scrape is. Just thought to myself it would be nice to see more than just the temperatures, for example the speed. And under this note symbol here you see I print TPU with 53mm now. This might be the limit of the 9 cubic millimeters of flow ratio that I've set for TPU, for it to be still stable in the extrusion. Second layer of 4 layers and then it will be faster. Okay, so let's try to wrap this up while he still prints in the background and is a bit noisy. Around €600 printer. If you use my affiliate link and use the coupon code, you can get it for €580, around $600. If you want to save and don't need ABS or PETG or Nylon or the fancy stuff where you need an enclosure, you can get the cheaper 5M without the Pro. So it will not have the enclosure and it will not have the camera, but the rest seems to be the same. Check this out as well. It will all be linked down below. The buy links are affiliate links, so it helps my channel if you buy over these links, and I will tell you the truth if it's worth it or not. Let's go through the pros and cons of the printer, and then you can decide for yourself if you want to check this out in closer. Starting with the pros, we have a very fast printer with 300mm per second. It's really fast. The 600mm are the movement speed. Very easy to operate, to get to your first print, to get to a good print without a lot of knowledge. So it's a good beginner experience, and the printer has a lot of capabilities for the future and for you to grow on your 3D printing. Very little to be desired there, which will come in the cons then. The quick change nozzle is one of the outstanding features here on this printer. It's really fast, but on the other hand, if you're clumsy like me, I just almost killed my print bed by not clicking it all the way in. The first few lines of the print went well and then it scraped into the bed, so make extra caution that you install the nozzle good on the quick changes. Printhead has a magnetic front cover, which also holds the fan that you probably hear now, that you don't need any screws. For the nozzle change you wouldn't even need to remove the front cover, it's just so I could see it better. The Pro version comes with the full enclosure and also the camera. And the camera is a nice feature. I wouldn't want to miss a camera on a 3D printer, so you can just check on a long print, you can check the progress, and most importantly you can check if the print still works or if it made spaghetti and you have to cancel it. So yeah, camera totally worth it. By the way, if you have a standard printer without camera capabilities, you totally get away with such dome cams. I have a lot of those Yi dome cams off of Amazon. I can link you those cams. They are quite easy to be mounted directly onto the printer. And yeah, as I said, they improve your printer experience by a lot. I made this mount myself in Unshape. These kinds of twists are really nice and easy to make with such a heat gun. Gently apply heat, twists until you feel the material get soft, but don't overdo it. And then you can just hold it and let it cool in that way. It would be just harder to print. And it was a very nice experience. Of course, the first print was too small. I messed up the measurements, but the second print clicked in place, holds nice without even the need for a screw, so that's a very nice experience. If you have something like the Artillery X3 Plus, You can totally download this part for free. Check it out in the description. That's already it for the pros. A lot of pros. The look and feel of the printer is also pro, so it looks very nice and mature. The cons are more on the software side, as often with these printers, than on the hardware, so there's a good chance they will be fixed. If many watch videos like this and make some noise to FlashForge, I'm sure they will listen to the community and improve the software. For example, the Orca-Slicer, it is supported. They even recommend you to use the Orca-Slicer or their own flash print. But if you use Orca-Slicer, you have no chance to send the print job over Wi-Fi to your printer, even though it's a Wi-Fi printer. So what the fuck, literally. But in the Orca-Slicer GitHub page there is also some comments that, hey, please add this, and they will add it in a month or so. That's their statement. So maybe you watch this video later and it already works, then forget this con, already fixed. It runs a nice Clipper installation on it, but we have no access. We don't even have a web GUI, whereas on the Creality K1 we saw the standard, the stock web interface, which just was not full featured. But here on the FlashForge you see nothing if you enter the IP address of your printer. So that's something that I don't understand, and they should definitely fix this one. I want to be able to go to the IP and see the print status and stuff like this. I don't want to have to go to the FlashForge cloud. One major hardware related con might be the small build volume of 22 by 22 by 22 centimeters. Other printers are at least 25 centimeters in cubic. Yeah, if you want to do larger prints, this may be a limitation. Sometimes on larger prints you can get away with rotating it 45 degrees and use the diagonal of your build plate, but yeah, it's not the largest printer, so just keep that in mind. The filament changes are a bit wasty. There's no retraction as on other printers, where it extrudes a bit of filament and then retracts the other remains. No, here you cut off the filament on top of the printhead and then it goes through all the material. It's not a major inconvenience, but it's not the nicest way. But it's one of the easier. So that's maybe why they did it. Yeah, and then one major gripe that I have with it, maybe it's not so important for you. I like to use those Wi-Fi sockets like this to turn on my printers. Here on the FlashForge we cannot use these, because if you power on, it only turns into the standby mode, which uses 5 watts. It's not accessible then. You still need to manually press the button in the front to boot it up. These are steps that I would like to do when I'm upstairs. Turn on the printer, have it be ready when I come down, or even be able to send down a Wi-Fi print job if I have the correct filament. So that's something that I want for the future. I hope this is also fixable with software, with a firmware update. When the printer gets power, that it initially boots up. I'm totally okay, and I find it a nice feature that once the printer finishes its job and you just forget it, it will shut down to the standby mode automatically after a few minutes to save power. I mean, it still uses 5 watts, which is not power saving, but yeah, it's less than the 10-15 watts that it uses when it's on the normal operation mode. Yeah, you've seen it. The cons are more software related, and I hope to fix it, and then it's really a decent printer. Print quality wise, I did measure this calibration cube and it's spot on, almost spot on the other axis, almost exactly 1 centimeter or 10 millimeters. Dimensional accuracy, great. Print quality for the speed, really good. This fidget thing, it turns. But I found this channel, Aurora Tech. They make a lot of comparison prints and they show good prints. I'm quite confident to say that this is the most capable printer that I have in my print farm now. The K1 from Creality is not bad, it's fast. I installed an 0.6 nozzle there as well, but the print quality lags a bit behind, and that's also what others found out. And this makes the FlashForge catch up to the BambuLab premium printers by quite a lot. And this is a $600 unit, and the BambuLabs, the comparable ones, are over 1,000 euros. So noise levels, wouldn't want to have this thing next to my office desk. I don't see this claim, but it's more silent than other printers. Let's put it that way. Thanks if you're a new subscriber. If you just found this channel because you searched for the FlashForge, maybe consider subscribing to my channel. Urge to make high quality content, sometimes fail, but make tech reviews, mostly drones, on my channel, but also action cameras and 3D printing now for over a year. Collected a lot of knowledge. Yeah, and I also like to create stuff on Onshape. So let me know in the comments, should I do a quick and easy Onshape tutorial? My monitor, I can show you. Camera rig that I have here. It's nice, by the way. It's mounted here on the wall, and this is some sort of camera crane, but the cheap one. You see, this crane is small and you don't always see everything on it. And I had this old FPV monitor, designed this clamp mount myself. I even designed those cable holders, and it works so nice. And being able to draw and print such a thing makes 3D printing so much more fun. Okay, so thanks a lot for watching. Before you go, let's check the status over here. Yeah, and right the 44 minutes that the slicer told me to. Yeah, it comes off nice off this eye sheet. Oh, and this is the one, the ugly scrape. Okay, bye bye.